yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 21. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this bagged and boarded Wednesday afternoon, Earth Day, October 8th, 2014. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon.
Hello, Remington.
So.
Take 14.
Take 14.
We got the intro done.
That was take 2.
Yeah.
And I still kind of struggled through it.
Yeah, you did. I could see it in your face. It was like you had a really hard poop. You're just trying.
It's weird reading it off of paper instead of off of the monitor. Yeah. Do you think I'd have it down by now? I mean, we've done the intro for, 10 episodes now at least?
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
So. I had to print it out. I couldn't remember anything about it. He says ogres, and there's something about Wednesdays, typically.
Things happen. So, if you notice a change in the sound quality today...
Which they will.
Which you will. It is because we are out in the field today. We are at our local gaming and comic book shop, Lost Legion Games and Comics, the Vault, which is they have several different locations.
Yeah, Lost Legion is like the brand, I think.
Yes.
If that's what you call it.
Yes.
And then the individual names are the individual stores.
Right. So we are at the Vault, which is located at 517B 21st Street, Vienna, West Virginia, 26105. You can also find them on the web at lostlegiongamesandcomics.com.
They also have a Facebook group.
Yes, they also have a Facebook group as well.
So we want to go ahead preemptively and thank them for letting us record here.
Yes, this is working in the field is something new and something different, and we hope that it all turns out well.
Frankly, I'm terrified.
Are you pooping yourself right now?
I don't like going outside.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the sunlight is terrible.
Snipers, lions.
Burns your skin.
Lion snipers?
Oh my god.
That would be crazy. Seriously, can you imagine if a lion learned how to use a sniper rifle?
No, I can't even imagine it.
I mean, would it?
Actually, I can imagine a tiger, but I can't imagine a lion.
You can imagine a tiger using a sniper rifle?
Yeah, that's weird.
What about a panther?
Yes, I could totally do a panther,
So it's just a lion?
Yeah, for some reason...
There's no other big cats you can't imagine using a sniper rifle? Cheetah, naturally.
Yeah, obviously. Well, I mean, you always see cheetahs with sniper rifles strapped to their backs, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, not a lion. I don't know. Maybe it's their regality.
Well, they're kind of goofy looking, really.
They're regal looking. Regality. Regal.
They're regally goofy. I mean, I think that's what it is painting the picture of a lion with, like, his mane hanging over his face trying to aim through a sniper rifle. It keeps getting in the way of the scope.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just ridiculous.
Oh, I just have to keep pushing my hair back. I can't get a clean shot, guys.
So that's the natural affectation that you imagine a lion would take. It's just kind of stupid and irritated. Oh, I just keep missing my shots all the time.
I need to lead my target better.
Jesus.
There must be some crosswinds that I'm not calculating for.
Alright, so what are we talking about today?
We are talking about, just since we are in the atmosphere for it, general comics and gaming.
Yeah.
Today.
It was so difficult, honestly, to find that much stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
It's never been that difficult for me. Normally we have 2 or 3 topics and we can discuss them, but I think New York Comic Con's happening this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't think it is happening this weekend. I think it starts early Thursday, or Thursday afternoon is like the pre-getting in, and then it goes all weekend. So probably next week would have been a better time to do this after New York Comic Con when we had a bunch of new news to talk about. But I think it speaks to our level of preparedness that we didn't know that and scheduled this one little day before New York Comic Con started.
Well, I mean, we are notorious for not being prepared for anything, so...
Or over-prepared.
Or completely over-prepared. There's no in-between. There's no gray area for us. It's no preparation whatsoever, or so much that we can't even fit it all into an hour.
I want to say, if you listen to last week's episode on cuss words, to show you sometimes the over-preparedness, That episode was like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Edited.
Yeah.
It was like an hour and 50 to almost 2 hours unedited. Close to it.
Yeah.
There was a lot that Remington cut out just to get it to that point. So that shows you.
Right. So, well, first of all, it's New Comic Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And the one that I really kind of wanted to look at and talk about, they don't seem to have in the store. So it's either sold out or it's in people's boxes, and I'm not going to bother them to ask to see it. But it's the Batgirl number 35, part of the New 52. And the artists really changed up her look.
So this is the first issue where she's in her entirely new costume?
I believe so. So, I mean, I don't follow Batgirl. I don't really know anything about it. Mm-hmm. The comic itself, from what I've read, seems to be very girl-centric.
Okay.
And not so much pandering to conventional comic book geeks. So, I mean, just, she's Batman's little sidekick or whatever,
Yeah.
The Robin replacement, if you will.
I mean, I've heard the argument a lot that it is kind of like pandering to girls to make a girl comic. Like, it's kind of understood, cliched-wise, that, like, boys will read Batman and girls will read Archie, or the Veronica and Betty stories of Archie.
Right.
Whatever. So it is interesting to see them putting out a comic that even the panels you showed me does seem to be kind of focused. And it almost seemed focused, like, towards teen girls.
Yeah.
Maybe not late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
With the, like, ooh, I got drunk and I made out with my roommate last night. I don't even remember that. Uh-oh, blush.
Yeah, yeah.
But the art looked awesome.
Yeah, the art looked really good.
Just from what we saw in the storyline.
And the new character design is just really sweet.
Yeah, it looks cool.
The, what kind of jacket would you call that? Like a panel jacket, almost? Or
like what she was wearing in the picture?
What would you call that?
She was wearing like a bodysuit, wasn't she?
No. It's a jacket. Like one of those tight-fitting jackets.
Uh-huh.
That zips up in the front. Almost like a military-style jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's got yellow army boots on.
It kind of looked like they were taking a page from X-Men costumes, from the X-Men movies.
Right, yeah.
How they were kind of the leather, because at least in her legs, she's got the leather, but it also has the kind of circular sewn onto it, like it's been patched together in a weird way.
Yeah, well, it looked more like denim. Armored. It looked more like denim, to be perfectly honest. At least the jacket. I didn't get a good enough look at the pants now that I think about it. Because I was just so taken aback by the cool design of the jacket.
That's what you were looking at, was the design of the jacket.
Yeah, it really was. Because, like I said, it's kind of a military style, and it looks like it really has kind of a denim feel to it. I mean, I could see if that outfit really... Because, generally she wears that almost spandexy, form-fitting...
Female Batman suit,
yeah. And just, I mean, the fact that jacket just kind of shuts everything off. She looks very mute and neutral, not overly sexualized or stylized.
Yeah, and that's been obviously a complaint with comics for years and years now.
Anything related to geek culture, there's usually some sexualization of female characters.
Why do you think that is?
Because we're a bunch of pervs.
But are we any more pervs than...
other dudes?
A guy who doesn't read comics or isn't into superhero movies or whatever your flavor is.
No, because then you have cheerleaders. I mean, that's just over-sexualized pandering to the male populace.
Yeah, that's true. What's your opinion on the sexualization of comics? I mean, do you see it as like a glaring problem?
Well, I mean, as a male, I mean, I'm really desensitized to it, personally.
You don't really notice.
Yeah. It's something that if we're talking about it, it's a fact that can be said.
Because it's definitely there.
Yeah, because it exists. But if I'm reading about it, I'm just not thinking about it. I'm not looking at the characters and being like, oh man, those are some really well-drawn boobies right there.
Well, right before you started recording, you said exactly that about Batgirl.
No, I said the opposite.
They were badly drawn boobies?
Yes. I mean, they just look like boxes. Well, that's what I'm talking about, is this new suit. You don't really see any boobies in the suit, if you will, breasts. Yeah. It's a real tight-fitting, like I said, denim military-style jacket. And those are almost, I mean, you were in band, so those, when you would put on those band jackets, they'd really just kind of squeeze everything in and...
Yeah, it definitely tightens you down.
Yeah, exactly. So, it gives that feel, and I think that's a nice departure from over-sexualized, over-stylized bat suits for women.
It reminds me of Carrie Fisher in the first Star Wars. They taped down her boobs as Princess Leia to make her look kind of younger.
Uh-huh.
And somebody had asked her about it in an interview, like, hey, I heard this happen. And she said the line, that's because there's no jiggling in the Empire.
I've never heard that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I think, like, not to go on this topic forever, but with the sexualization of women in comics, I guess maybe we're not the norm as far as it goes. And
maybe.
Obviously we're not women.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I'm not a woman. But, like...
Wait, what are you insinuating here?
I'm insinuating you have a vagina. So I think that there's a misconception about women sexualized in comics.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think everybody, but I think some women think that guys are seeing these pictures of, like, Harley Quinn, bent over, skin tight, and are looking at it and just immediately masturbating.
Right.
And maybe it's because we're older. I don't know. But, you can see a woman, tight-fitting clothes or scantily clad, and appreciate the art.
Yeah.
But I think that we have a disconnect between, like, that's not what a typical real woman looks like.
Yeah. And
we're not immediately going and masturbating in a bush.
Well, it's not just necessarily from the male's perspective that, that woman's lib would be concerned with. It's about the presentation of women to other women. So there's that aspect as well, where they don't want younger girls feeling like they have to match up to these drawn characters, which really has always kind of confused me. Like Barbie, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
Instead of teaching your kids that you don't have to look rail thin and big boobs and blonde hair, instead of doing that, just explain to them, this is just not real.
Yeah.
It is a character, just like comic books, video games. Batgirl. She is a young woman who runs around on rooftops with Batman. There is a certain fitness aspect to that.
Mm-hmm.
There is a certain fitness aspect to Lara Croft. She's going all over the world, traveling, spelunking, really getting a workout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you're just what you're basically saying is tell these whiny girls to work out. That's what I'm taking from this?
No, I'm just saying, become a vigilante or
a world traveler.
A
millionaire world traveler.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's all you have to do.
To take like devil's advocate point here, I think that the idea is, even if your parents tell you this is like a weird idealized version of beauty, there's only so much a parent can input besides the fact that you're constantly assailed by media saying the contrary in every way.
Yeah.
And I think that, I know that we take a lot of who we become from the media we intake,
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars, I would say, single-handedly started me down the path to loving sci-fi.
Right.
And getting into comics from X-Men, especially the older cartoon.
Yeah, yeah.
So, media definitely affects us, how we grow.
Yeah.
The things we like.
And I agree. But it's important for people to learn on their own that there is a definite disconnect, and you shouldn't crap on art just because it happens to be over-sexualized or slightly offensive to your sensibilities. You appreciate it for what it is, not what it's trying to tell you that it thinks that men or women should be, because that's not what it's saying.
Yeah, that's not... And the people who are making it, I think, explicitly would say that's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
But when all the evidence sometimes points to the contrary, it's hard to take that seriously.
Sometimes a duck is not a duck.
I'm not sure what you mean. Well, I do get what you're saying.
Right.
But, like, for example, did you see... This was like a month old, so this isn't really current news, but it's relevant. Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
Did you see the variant cover that caused a bunch of issues?
Did you see the 3D renderings of that?
No.
Oh my god. Okay, continue on yours.
Well, what did you think about that?
It was a peculiar pose. I mean, it just seemed straight unnatural to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even 2D. And then some people took that form and did a 3D rendering of it. And you can see from the different positions where her legs just wouldn't be able to even do that sort of thing. She had her neck craned so far back that it was completely unnatural. It was ridiculous.
I mean, if you're trying to compare things that can naturally happen to poses in comic books,
I understand that.
You're going to find a long history of poses that couldn't actually
exist.
Yeah, Look
absolutely.
at any of the Todd McFarlane run of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
For God's sake. He has like 8 knees in some of those pictures, just bended at the weirdest angles.
Yeah. And I understand that, but I mean, this was just so far out that it even didn't look natural in 2D.
So you're taking umbrage more with the fact that it didn't look natural as opposed to the sexual position?
Yeah, it really wasn't, because she was... What was it? She was like she had just climbed onto a roof or something.
She was definitely in a weird position.
Yeah.
She was like kind of sit forward, but I think the big part is I read a lot of comparisons that said she looked like she was presenting herself like an animal.
Yeah.
But coupled with that is the fact that the guy who they had do that variant cover was an Italian artist known for his erotica.
Ah.
So I don't agree with people getting that upset over the cover.
Right.
I got in a long, drawn-out discussion, borderline argument with Bree, who's been on a couple of our episodes, is also a very outspoken feminist, about this exact topic.
Yeah.
And her point of view was that you just don't understand that sexualization because you're a guy.
Right.
Which is true. But I don't think that should automatically negate any sort of argument I might have.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, and not specifically with her, but I feel like sometimes in these arguments, and this we're going to get into such fucking touchy territory.
Yeah, I know.
Because we're going to sound like total assholes because it can be construed that way, but that's not what I'm saying. I just feel like sometimes in those cases where you're arguing about something like that,
yeah,
you're either right because you agree, or you wouldn't understand because you don't agree.
Right.
There's no, here's why I think you're wrong, I get where you're coming from, but this is why, here's the facts.
Yeah.
It feels sometimes more like you don't understand because you're not a guy.
Right.
And there's definitely...
Because you are a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely levity to that. That's not entirely incorrect, but...
Well, I mean, that's just it. It's not even that it's not correct, it's that there is a completely different mentality to it. Because we're just as bombarded in the media as women are. I mean, constant shirtless models being thrown in our faces with abs and great hair and thick jaw lines and stuff. But we, as men, don't really care about it.
Well, and you can argue that it's more socially acceptable for a guy to be fat. Or for a guy to be out of shape. It is. A guy with power can be a big fat sack of shit.
Right.
But if he's got a lot of money and he wears a suit or owns a company, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know? He can slap his belly and make jokes about diabetes. And people don't look.
Right.
But if you had the head of a company that was a woman, who was a big fat woman slapping her belly making jokes about diabetes, we'd be pretty grossed out. You know? And I think that's where their argument about it comes in.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I entirely disagree with that argument.
Yeah.
But I do disagree with the Spider-Woman cover. I mean, when it first came out...
For the record, that CEO would be making like 7% less than her male counterpart.
Well, yeah. I disagree with the objection...
Which we disagree with that, too.
To the Spider-Woman cover.
Yeah.
Because one of the first arguments I saw was, what if they drew Spider-Man like that? And people went online and found like 10 or 20 instances of Spider-Man literally in that exact same position.
Yeah.
Suit looked like it was painted on, butt cheeks curved over exactly like that.
Yeah.
So
maybe a little less butt, but that's just because dudes generally have a little less butt. Generally.
So yeah, it was a very tangenty thing about sexism.
Yeah.
We've been talking about sexism a lot lately. In the cursing episode, down to the history of it.
Yeah, we talked, the relation to bitch not necessarily being so much of a cuss word as a sexist, derogatory sexist remark. So
let's get off of that. I feel like we've kind of rehashed how we feel about stuff over and over.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Spider-Man, though,
okay,
there's been rumors that Sony is in talks with Marvel to get Spider-Man into the Avengers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Total rumors. But it's been reported a lot. Not that makes it any truer.
Right.
But...
Well, in the cartoon series that's running right now he has at least been associated and recruited by S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, I think the rights are different for cartoons.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they are, but I'm just saying, if they're going to do some sort of company crossover, because I'm sure if Marvel owned the rights to Spider-Man, they'd be making those movies out the waz.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Marvel still owns the rights to Spider-Man. They just don't own
Studios. Marvel Studios, doesn't own the movie rights.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Amazing Spider-Man movies haven't been doing as nearly as well as any of the Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah.
All.
No.
Like, Amazing Spider-Man 1 got pretty good reviews. Amazing Spider-Man 2 got, mixed reviews at best.
Yeah. I still haven't seen either one.
I've seen the first one. I haven't seen 2. And Spider-Man is probably my favorite superhero. And I haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 2 either, which kind of just shows after reading the mixed reviews, it's just it's going to be Spider-Man, but I don't know.
Why would you read a review about a movie that you haven't seen yet?
Well, I'm not basing it all off the reviews. I will eventually see it.
Still. That's Bad News Bears, son.
That's exactly what we do on here.
I don't know what you're talking about. I make stuff up constantly.
Wait, so the Gritty Smurfs reboot you talked about isn't going to happen?
Probably not.
I'm really looking forward to Morgan Freeman as Gargamel.
Why would Morgan Freeman play Gargamel?
Paycheck, dude.
He did just recently do a movie about dolphins, so...
It's ironic because I already eat Smurfs.
Anyway, back to Spider-Man.
I think that would be awesome. That's really what it boils down to.
Right.
Yeah, they announced a Sinister Six movie a while ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's still going through. But I think there's been kind of a lukewarm reception to that, too. Yeah. Besides diehard Spider-Man fans, I think at this point people are like, you're going to cram 6 villains into a movie? Ugh.
Yeah.
I think Sony would be smart to let Spider-Man appear in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think Marvel would be more than excited to have Spider-Man running around in their universe,
Yeah, I'm sure. I think the the writing team who does the Marvel movies, I think they could have a field day with it.
Well, and here's the thing, because they're doing Avengers 2. Comes out, I think, 2016. I think we have another year or so.
Yeah.
Even if they're through filming, which they're probably not, but even if they're... No, maybe...
No, they probably are. They're probably done with... Now they're just doing rendering and 3D stuff. And
if they suddenly got the rights, if they suddenly hit a deal and Sony said, all right, you can use Spider-Man, I don't know how they would work it, but 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes, you can put him in a movie.
Right.
Do you think that they would go back and throw Spider-Man into Avengers 3? Even in the background? Even, behind a hot dog? They're all fighting, you see Spider-Man kind of off in the distance, I'm late.
I suppose it's possible. Where did the big fight with all the aliens and stuff?
It happened in New York.
Yeah, it happened in New York, which is where Spider-Man is.
Was he just sleeping that day?
Exactly, Fighting in a different part of town, you could say. But, man, it would have been sweet to just have him swing in, be like, hey, guys, what's up?
Well, there were rumors before Avengers came out that was going to happen.
Yeah.
That Spider-Man was going to be, seen swinging in the background.
Yeah.
I think that they missed an opportunity with Avengers to throw in more.
Yeah.
Even in the background, because they have the rights to the Avengers, so all of the Avengers villains and, I'm sure all the little side characters that aren't tied up in Fantastic Four or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know how movies work, obviously. I'm not a movie person. But, how hard would it have been to, throw some, small side character in a spandex suit and just have him, walk into the background a little bit,
That'd be super exciting.
I guess that's why I'm not a movie director.
I just need you to just meander aimlessly through the shot, please.
Wait, what's happening on the blue screen behind me? Oh, stuff's blowing up everywhere. It's crazy. People are screaming, dying.
You're just getting a hot dog, so you're not really concerned with it.
Yeah, you're lost.
You're looking for 32nd Street.
Somebody stole the paper from your front porch, and by God, you're going to find it.
I can't help you today, Avengers.
I have a feeling that's how they talk to Stan Lee in those movies. Just, Jesus, where do you want me to sit? Alright, Stan, you just saw the Green Goblin fly by. Who? Say you created him.
I like how you just made him completely senile.
He's not senile, he just doesn't care. Stan Lee's 90 years old now?
113.
Wow. That's totally factual, too,
yes,
isn't it?
Completely. He was just in something else.
A nursing home?
That man still goes to cons.
Oh, I know.
He is ridiculous.
That guy is still just tottering around.
Yeah, he's super impressive.
Yeah, I love Stan Lee. It's all in jest.
I'm wearing my Stan shirt today.
It's hilarious, just the amount of combination of things that they make for nerds now. You're wearing a shirt that's a combo of Buddy Christ from Dogma and Stan Lee.
Yeah.
So it's Buddy Christ, but with Stan Lee's head, the incredible Buddy Stan. I mean, when is enough going to be enough? When are they going to stop combining things?
Enough said. Yeah, it has all of his little sayings on it.
It has, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. And what I love about that is in interviews with him, he talks about that, and it's like, I didn't know it was going to be big, I just wrote something. Like, there's no point where he's not letting time cloud his thoughts a little bit and say, like, well, I was going through a hard time.
Yeah.
I don't know what Stan Lee talks like. I'm all over the place. Well, I was going through a hard time. Yeah, just very much like, I don't know, I just wrote something.
Yeah.
That's just what I did, I don't know.
Speaking of film, The Flash was released on CW.
The TV show.
The new series, the new TV show.
How was it?
I thought it was pretty good.
Just pilot episode so far?
Yeah. I don't feel like I got lost on anything. Mm-hmm. They did cram a lot of information into that first episode. Kind of got into his origin, Barry Allen. And I did tear up at one point.
Really?
Not the point that you would think, but I did tear up at one point. Yeah, a little bit.
Was it when you realized you were watching the CW?
Yeah, it really was. It's like, where's Angel? Did they play that on the CW? I don't remember. It seems like something that they would.
So, are we going to get into spoilery territory with the first episode? I mean, it's the pilot episode. It's just a setup. I think we'll be fine. If you haven't watched it and you're really concerned with spoilers, skip the next 10 minutes, I'd say. 5 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 5 or 10. So, joining us from the shop is Russ Yoak.
That's fine. I didn't know if was I supposed to talk.
No, you don't have to talk.
It's kind of
you're just gonna sit here and look pretty.
I'll just breathe into the mic.
Yeah.
Suddenly got a lot sexier in here. Let's talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we were talking about Spider-Man maybe in the Avengers or in talks for. I mean, it's all rumor, right? Like, nothing's concrete at all.
Yeah, nothing's confirmed. That's all speculation. I haven't even really read much on it myself. The way I see that, who do you see teaming up first? Disney, Marvel, and Fox, or Disney, Marvel, and Sony? I see Sony and Disney making nice with Fox, and going against Fox together before all those guys do their thing.
Which properties does Fox own?
They have all of the X-Men and X-Men related.
I was going to ask you who
and Fantastic Four.
They're really making good use out of that.
Yeah. Oh goodness, that just looks awful.
Are they still going through with that movie?
Yes, and everything I see on it, I'm like, what? The most recent thing is Susan Storm is not a member of the Storm family naturally. She's adopted.
Well, because wasn't there a lot of people had issues because... Is this the one where they're making Human Torch black? And then people were like, well, how's he related to Susan Storm?
Yeah, that from what I hear, it's one of the guys that was in Chronicle. He's going to play Johnny.
Oh, okay.
It was the guy who played the class president. I can't remember the character's name or the actor name because I'm terrible with that.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he's going to play Johnny Storm, and then his adopted sister is Susan Storm. And what it looks like they're going to do the whole living metal suit for Doom, and it just looks... I've seen CG or the test footage where they're green screening, and it just doesn't look impressive to me.
Huh.
Do you just think that the Fantastic Four is just not that interesting?
This current Fantastic Four just doesn't really look fantastic. They're not even exceptional. They're just 4 people, it looks like.
They're just the 4.
Yep.
Did you see the older ones? Like the ones that it was like 8-10 years ago, maybe?
Yeah,
with the guy from The Shield as the Thing.
Yeah, I liked some of the cast
Michael
members
Chiklis.
in that. Yeah, he was an awesome Ben Grimm. I thought he was one of the better characters. It's like how sometimes I describe the X-Men movies. It's good actors stuck in bad movies.
Exactly. That was my take on it as well. The movie itself, I mean, the actors did what they could with it, but the script itself was just lackluster.
That and just Doom is like my favorite Marvel villain, and they just have not been able to do Doom justice.
What about the Silver Surfer one? Did you see that?
I liked it better than the first one, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I have an unopened copy of it. at my house that I have had for almost a year now that I've never even opened. Is it worth the watch?
It's worth watching at least once. It's at the ending when it all really falls apart.
Is that the one I heard where Galactus is like mist or something?
Yeah, he's evil space cloud with the faint silhouette of his helmet. Then, apparently touching the Silver Surfer makes it to where if you have powers, your molecules become unstable, and if you high-five someone else with powers, you transfer, you swap powers.
Yeah.
That's, the gimmick of that movie.
Is they just keep swapping powers?
Yeah, and then, at the end, they all do, the hands-in-4 thing, and Johnny Storm becomes this quasi-super Skrull, and he fights Doom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So does he take all of their powers then?
Yeah, he's a flying Chris Evans with flaming fists and can turn invisible, and it's just okay, he's stretchy now.
Yeah.
What's hilarious
it was really weird.
Is there's so
But that was
much,
a really good reference, a Super Skrull reference, yeah.
There's so much good story to draw on. And that's what gets me when they have a Fantastic Four movie with stuff like that, Or we were talking about Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I haven't seen it.
I have not seen that one yet either.
But it's got kind of mixed reviews, and the story from what I read just seemed kind of boring compared to some of the great Spider-Man stories out there.
What I've heard is people don't like, because I had predicted what was going to happen if they were going to follow the comics, because the Stacy family is one of the most tragic families in comic history.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people knew the story of what happened to Gwen Stacy, so they were upset with that.
She had to move to a farm downtown, right?
Yeah. she had to go away.
She took the bridge.
I haven't even seen the movie yet, and I know that happened.
And I know I'd read reviews from people who didn't know the story, which was awesome. That even in some bad reviews, people were saying that scene was really crazy.
Comic where he died when he hit her with the web that keeps her falling.
Is that how it happens in the movie too?
Yeah. Original comic.
In the movie, do they leave it kind of up to the imagination as to whether Spider-Man killed her with the web? Because I know in the comic it was kind of, you couldn't tell if it was Spider-Man or whether she was already dead.
He was trying to keep her
Yeah.
from the floor. She was alive that last 3 feet from the floor, but when the web got her, she was 2 feet from the floor. And
So in the comic, it made it pretty clear that it was actually Spider-Man's web that killed her, snapped her neck.
yeah. Oh yeah, crack.
Wow.
Letters.
It was just like a whiplash kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one story that's also been retold and reimagined a lot, but that's one element that always stays the same. I mean, I remember back when the comics, right after when Siege was about to happen, when Dark Reign was still going on, Norman Osborn had this hallucination where it swapped him, like he was in Spider-Man's position, and there was this psychopathic image of him coming as the Green Goblin, and it knocks Gwen Stacy off, and he does the web thing, and it turns into this big hallucination that just he's slowly going crazy. Because, let's take psychotic criminal mastermind and put him in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a year. That's a good idea, comic book logic.
Is that what the story was for that?
Yeah, that's what Dark Reign was. Norman Osborn, that it played right off of the Secret Invasion storyline, where pretty much every big hero group was infiltrated by Skrulls.
Uh-huh.
And they found out who the Queen was, and Nick Fury was going to go take her out, and Norman Osborn intercepted all that data, and he ends up taking her out and gets this huge PR boost, and he uses all that to smear the heroes and smear Tony Stark's reputation and gets all this credit, and they're like, hey, you're a good guy, you're in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., full pardon.
That's hilarious that is total comic book logic.
Yeah.
Haven't you killed thousands of people over the course of your life? Yeah, but Spider-Man's kind of an asshole, right, guys? Yeah, okay.
You got a point there.
It's just J. Jonah Jameson in different wigs. He took my purse! He's still got the mustache. Have you been following Amazing Spider-Man at all?
I have read a few issues since they've relaunched, since Superior Spider-Man has ended.
I totally stopped after Superior Spider-Man. I still have a bunch in your guys' comic box here I need to pick up, and I'm really hoping it is good. I know it's the same writers, but...
I like it just fine. I mean, I guess I'm in one of the boats that didn't hate Superior Spider-Man. It was just different. I mean, there were parts of it that weren't that great, but everyone doesn't like it because, he's a jerk, but it's Dr. Octopus. He is a jerk.
Yeah. So
it's kind of the point.
You were kind of ambivalent to it. You were just kind of like, it's all right, but back to Peter Parker now.
it's not going to last forever, you know. That's exactly what I said when it started.
Is the story pretty good through Amazing Spider-Man so far?
Yeah, it's him coming back into the swing of things, pun intended. Basically putting his life back together after Otto has switched it all around, dealing with some relationships that he made in Peter's shoes, and kind of coming into it being like, hey, I don't really know what's going to go on, but I have to go with the secret, so I'm going to work with it.
Is he still dating that little girl he was like the midget girl, for lack of a better term, I guess?
I don't know where their relationship currently is in the comics. The last part that I read, they were still together, and she had just realized that he was Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because literally the first scene in the new series is Spider-Man fighting this metahuman that can manipulate fabrics and pretty much like strips everything off of him but his mask, and then she recognizes him.
Oh.
Yeah. Marvel's
really?
There. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That sounds completely
I recognize
ridiculous.
that 30% angle.
But, I mean, there was a really good panel montage right after it of just a bunch of people saying, yep, that's Peter Parker. Because who else is that going to happen to? There's like 10 people in the Marvel Universe now that know who Spider-Man is. It's like Wolverine, Spider-Woman, Captain America, and some of the other Avengers. Yeah. And they're all just like looking at each other, yep, he's really back.
Did anybody realize that it was Doc Ock in there? I mean, I know there were a couple characters at the end of Superior Spider-Man that started to realize it.
There was that, and there was suspicion from a few characters throughout the whole run. And then some of the characters that were involved in the Ends of the Earth storyline shortly before Superior Spider-Man began were suspicious. So, yeah, some people do figure it out, and then others remain in the dark. To me, it's really just a way to beat Spider-Man back down to his 90s level.
Yeah.
Because that seems like that's been the last 10 years of Spider-Man. Just Spider-Man's having good stuff happen to him. Nope.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's, to a lot of people, what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man is, like that college student down on his luck, like, oops. And so they have to keep
never
going
catch a break
there.
over here.
Like they'll make him grow up and get a job and get married, and then like, oh, no, different dimension, something happened. Back to 17-year-old Spider-Man.
I just don't want to talk about one more day that ruined Spider-Man for me.
Did you want to talk about the Flash TV show?
So yeah, the Flash was released on the CW, the premiere episode, yesterday, and I think I'm the only one here who saw it. So
all the trailers look great.
I just want to say now, I could not care less about the Flash. I just really, I don't know, I just find him super boring.
Yeah.
And I keep hearing when I say that to people that they tell me I need to read or watch Flashpoint.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with that one?
I know the storyline. I haven't seen the animated movie. They did do an animated movie of that one, didn't they? I haven't seen that one. I do like most of DC's animated stuff.
He kind of, he goes back in time.
Yeah, something happens.
Bruce Wayne meets his parents, and it's just all kind of convoluted.
Something happens in Flashpoint to where it kind of like fractures the timeline and creates alternate timelines, because you also see the Thomas Wayne Batman, and I think you see the Red Rain Batman during that, where I don't know what happened, but somehow Batman became a vampire.
No,
it happens sometimes.
Sometimes you wake up and you're a vampire. Wesley Snipes.
Blade.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, one day he woke up and he's going to be Blade.
Yeah.
That's a Bruce Wayne goes to the doctor. I think I'm a vampire. The doctor's just Wesley Snipes.
You just got sniped. I don't know where the series will go, but the episode I thought was really good. There was a point where I actually did tear up. And usually the only thing that makes me tear up is anime. I don't know why. It's just the voice acting. It hits me in the heartstrings.
Some of those voices are so pretty high pitch, and they hurt your ears.
Maybe that's it.
Now, one thing, I did read a couple reviews on it, and one person knocked points off for it being too close to the source material. I don't know how you give take away points for something being too close to its source material.
Yeah,
that is really nitpicky.
In the first,
wow.
in the first episode, he does the breaking down a hurricane, where he runs reverse of the spin of the hurricane to cancel it out.
He's that fast. I'm taking a point off.
Exactly. In order to break that down, he has to go at least 700 miles an hour.
Does somebody say something like that?
Yeah.
He'd have to be really fast to do that. Yeah. Almost like some sort of Flash. Wink. Straight at the camera.
The Arrow is the one who gives him the idea for the name.
Oh, Green Arrow Pop?
Yeah.
Are they calling him Green Arrow, or is he just Arrow?
I don't know. I haven't actually watched that series.
I watched the first half of the first season and really didn't like it. Everyone keeps telling me I'm crazy. It hit every cliche, just bad superhero thing that's in the market.
But isn't that what Green Arrow is known for, though? I mean, just really bad cliche stuff.
Nah, I can't really say that.
Isn't there an episode of the cartoon where he's humming his own theme song,
like in Justice League Unlimited or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Justice League Unlimited is kind of self-referential a lot, though. I mean, it's kind of like what was that Batman cartoon? It's on Netflix now. It had those play school superhero toys you can buy with the big heads, big hands, and big feet. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
It has kind of that style. It's Batman Brave and Bold, I think.
Yeah, the CGI one, yeah.
Oh, that's
not CGI.
It's more or less like Batman team up every episode.
Yeah, and it's got Batmite in it a few times.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. What was the other one?
There's Beware the Batman. That's the newest one that's just a train wreck.
They canceled it.
Well, it was hey, let's take a show and make every Batman villain that no one knows or cares about and give them the spotlight.
Yeah, Anarchy was the...
Calendar Man.
Yeah. The main running bad guy throughout that series was Anarchy.
That and just...
I've never even heard of that.
Exactly.
A lot of these CG shows, I just can't get into the art behind it. That's what knocked me out of the new Transformers show whenever that was still on. They're getting ready to make a sequel to that.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the CG Spider-Man that was on MTV
oh, goodness.
years ago?
God, that Neil Patrick Harris voiced him.
That show was so bad. Have you seen that? You know what I'm talking about? It was CG,
it was long enough ago that I don't really remember.
It was the first
cell
crack
shading.
at cell shading.
You can tell it's like that. Yeah, they're just starting out. It looks so dated now, and it's just so... it's bad. Yeah. I got the entire series, which always speaks well to a show when you can get the entire series on one set of DVDs.
For $10.
There's multiple DVDs, though? I thought it would just be a one thing.
There's two. Well, because there's commentary on the episodes. Because there's somewhere out there's somebody watching it being like, I gotta learn more. I gotta see what this is about.
So, going back to The Flash, Barry Allen is played by Grant Gustin. Yeah, I don't know him from anything else. There are a couple of, so far, I could say easily forgettable characters at the moment.
Do you think that with Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Trainwreck.
I want it to be good, but I just think they're trying to rush it out too fast.
Yeah. Well, maybe that rush will translate into really them trying new stuff that'll work. I think it's either going to be really good or a total DC, you really dropped it.
I don't know if the release date's a good idea because they will not back down. That's going to come out the same weekend as Captain America 3.
Captain America 3 actually switched.
Oh, they did? I hadn't heard that.
Captain America 3 switched 6 months later. But with this, so far we have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman confirmed, right?
With hints of, I think, Cyborg, Aquaman, and someone else. I know I heard Cyborg and Aquaman for sure.
Do you think that they're going to pull from these shows for Green Arrow and Flash?
That
to
would
try
be
to really set
to give
their
them
brand?
A foundation, but I don't know. I mean, they'd have to work with the networks, so from a story sense, that might make it better. From a real life, we're going to have to get into lawyer talk and split up all this money, and then go to companies and parent companies and all that. That's where that might get bogged down, and it might just become its own standalone thing.
Well, especially, though, if they're following the... if they're following the Marvel idea of trying to push out, here's all the superheroes, people want to see this.
Yeah. It
would make sense almost to use, the same Flash and the same Green Arrow, kind of like how they do with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Coulson and Robin Scherbatsky. I don't remember her actress's name.
Oh, Maria Hill, yeah. I don't remember her name either.
Yeah.
You went with the How I Met Your Mother reference, and I'm like... don't really watch that show that much.
I haven't seen every episode 2 or 3 times.
Okay. Now I remember.
Whatever. Just keep her around. We like watching her.
She is pretty. She did it.
End of podcast.
A quiet moment of contemplation for how pretty she is.
I was trying to remember her name, and then my brain shut down. There was she did appear in one episode of it.
Yeah.
Or, well, one or two, I think.
I don't know if she's made it to
was
2 yet, but I haven't made it very far into S.H.I.E.L.D. because I'm only on the third episode, maybe fourth, and it's just too campy. Everyone says it takes off 5 or 6 episodes in once Winter Soldier got closer to coming out. But every show just feels like the same conversation. It's some pessimist and Agent Coulson, and he's just like, these people don't like each other. Then Coulson's like, well, they're going to learn to like each other. It's one person saying something negative, and then Coulson saying something positive, and that's every conversation.
I'm really enjoying it.
You're a big fan of it, right?
I am really enjoying it. Of course, I was sold on Coulson.
Oh, I love the actors and everything. It has great potential, but I just need to saw through these episodes and get to this takeoff point that everyone keeps telling me about.
Maybe so. I mean, I don't know you well enough to tell you whether or not you'd like it, but I think it's really they've completed one story arc, and you said you've only just started watching it.
Yeah, I've got maybe through the 3rd or 4th episode. I can't remember. They're going to send their new recruit in to infiltrate this party because there's some kind of compound under where the party's going to happen.
Okay, then you've got a way to go because they're on season 2 now.
Yeah, they just started season 2.
So
that and her Deathlock's in it, so I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
isn't Deathlock kind of boring in that? Is that what I've heard, that they don't really play him to how awesome Deathlock really is?
Yeah, they kind of downplay him a little
So you have
bit.
that to look forward to.
So,
a character you really enjoy being kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of cool, but they don't really play him up enough. So,
well, I mean,
he has an interesting end to his story.
That always leaves room to expand, and you have they have to be careful with Deathlock because he fringes close to the X-Men territory.
Yeah. I don't know. Overall, I mean, they just completed the story arc, and I don't want to give you too much information on it, but I mean, it's shit hits the fan.
I know some stuff. I know Victoria Hand eventually shows up.
Yeah, yeah, she shows up in it. Shit hits the fan, and then right now in the 2nd season, they're working on the recovery of that, and it's getting pretty interesting.
Does season 1 end on a huge cliffhanger?
Oh yeah,
it does.
Yeah. Well, I heard the way that schedule is set up. It was. The finale and Winter Soldier were really close to each other.
Exactly.
The finale of S.H.I.E.L.D. was affected by Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But how does it work, though? Is it like Winter Soldier comes out and then the people on S.H.I.E.L.D. are like, man, can you believe what happened with Captain America? That was crazy. I mean, is he there? Is there any sort of appearance? No, I haven't seen Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier was really good.
Is there...
I keep hearing that it is.
I saw the first Captain America.
Have you not seen it either? I don't want to say too much then. I am too, and I use all my money for important things like Captain America and Winter Soldier.
I just recently bought a house.
Okay, well, you're like 5 steps ahead of me.
Wait,
so
I thought working in a comic shop was one of the highest paying gigs in this town.
It has the prestige.
You can't cash hero clicks at the bank.
I drop my name and they tell me, I can't come in.
Yeah, Winter Soldier, was there like a big...
well, what made that movie so great was... there's always an after credits scene. But what made it so great was it was like Captain America 2 with also a S.H.I.E.L.D. movie hidden in it. Because, Black Widow is in the whole movie. Like, she is a character that's not just, hey, I'm here, Avengers reference, I'm going to go away.
Right.
She's like, in the whole movie.
Oh, that's cool.
They made Falcon awesome in a movie.
Does he use a falcon? Does he? I mean,
he doesn't have red wing.
Actually, okay. Never. Is there a reference to it?
Unless I missed it, I don't remember there being a reference to Red Wing.
I guess that would be kind of difficult to just go bird go or whatever. It's backflips and stuff. That's his catchphrase, right?
Yeah.
Go bird go.
Go bird go.
But they did.
I'm glad you don't write comics.
Now, the whole dynamic between Steve and Sam was great, and the Falcon wingsuit looked awesome. But they did show the downfall of Falcon to where it's just like, hey, well, you know what? You're not a superhero anymore.
I'd heard people speculating that they were going to...
He's kind of easy to take out of a fight.
That they were going to have him maybe become the new Captain America at some point. Because I know he did in the comics, right?
He currently is in the comics.
Really?
Yes, in the comic book, current timeline... Steve has been taken out of the mix for some reason. His super soldier serum is gone, and it aged him. So he's passed the mantle to Sam. And Sam's been Cap before. I can't tell you the exact date. I know it was in a past story.
Was there any hint in the movie that might be the direction, or is this just fanboys?
If someone else is gonna take up the shield in the movie universe, I see it being Bucky.
That's what I was we talked about this a couple, 3 episodes ago or something, or maybe it was just...
It might have been off because I don't know enough about it, and I don't think you do either for us to have actually talked about it.
No, but we had discussed that. I figured that it would be Bucky, because hadn't he been Cap before in the comics at some point?
Yeah, it was right after the Civil War. The Civil War storyline. Cap died, air quotes for everyone listening.
Right.
Yeah, I won't go through that whole beehive of continuity.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they think he's dead, so Bucky takes up the mantle and becomes the new Captain America, has his own spin on the outfit. I mean, still looks like Cap, has the shield.
Right.
And then he has his own Avengers team for a little while, and then once... I don't think it was until Fear Itself Steve came back officially as Captain America. He came back in the story, but was just... Steve Rogers, I'm a super cop kind of guy.
I thought the idea for Fear itself was really cool, but from what I picked up, I just didn't like it.
What issue did you read? Like the main story, or did you read like a character tie-in?
I read some of the character tie-ins.
The main story was good. Some of the character tie-ins, and it seems like they're doing this with a lot of events, just had nothing to do with the event.
Oh, I remember when they were doing the Age of Ultron story in the comics while I was reading Superior Spider-Man. And I just pick up an episode or an issue, one of the newest, and it's just like, what the hell is this? Suddenly New York's in flames and stuff, and robots are flying everywhere for one issue.
I'm still not even sure if Age of Ultron is actually in the canon of the Marvel Universe, because I've heard that it's not. I've heard it's an alternate timeline. I heard through the events of the story, they make it not happen, and it's just caused a train wreck of I don't know.
Well, didn't that how they kind of ended Fear itself? Is they just kind of all this crazy stuff happened, Thor died, all this, and now we're just... I forget most of that, though. Didn't Fear itself kind of rewind itself or wipe itself out?
I haven't read anything that suggests that. I mean, the whole Thor dying, yeah, that got written out, because I think when Loki came back, it was him, and I think the Silver Surfer that saved Thor from wherever he was exiled to.
So, getting into, comic book death, then, because we're an hour right now, so...
Yeah, hour 5.
Death of Wolverine, have you read all of them?
I have not read all of them. I've read the first one and parts of 2 and 3. I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. But it's not going to last. That's all I can say on that one.
I mean, are people even really making a huge deal out of it anymore? I know that you guys are pretty sold out of it, right?
It's selling very well, yes. I usually get 1 or 2 subscribers that want the last few issues every now and then. I just picked up a couple more. Honestly, though, Wolverine's one of Marvel's big money pinatas right now. It's not going to last.
I mean, it reminds me, and I was pretty young when this happened, but the whole Death of Superman thing. I mean, even more than the Peter Parker's going to die, except he's not, because he's Dr. Octopus, then we'll bring him back. The death of Wolverine, in theory, seems huge, you know? But
yeah.
Anything you know about Wolverine or comic books, I think as a comic book reader... Doing something like killing Wolverine, I think, is to attract non-comic book readers.
It's a shock value thing.
Because any comic book reader, even you saying it with Captain America died in air quotes, they're not gonna be just well, we said he's dead, so
there's
no more Wolverine ever.
There's only 3 constant deaths in comic books, excuse me. And that's in normal universes, and that's Batman's parents and Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that'll just... We can maybe able to add Captain Stacy to that.
Because they're so integral to the plot of who Batman is and who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you change that formula, you get an alternate timeline where Batman's tearing throats out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
From what I read of the Death of Wolverine, I was surprised because I've read the first 2 issues. There's not a whole lot of stuff that happens. I mean, it's building up to it, but I was expecting... And I haven't read the last 2 issues yet, but I was expecting a huge Blaze of Glory fight. But it's really just Wolverine goes here.
Yeah, it's like
he's
him
a little
saying
hurt.
his goodbyes, really.
Yeah, which is kind of neat, I guess, in a way.
Well, there was the whole 3 months to die, then it counted down every issue before Death of Wolverine actually began.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was supposed to be pretty epic because what I read of that, Sabretooth had some sort of device that could change the world and was going to make it to where it was basically survival of the fittest. And then no.
I started reading the Wolverine, the Marvel Now, when they rebooted it or whatever, started at 1. And I was really into it for a while. Did you read much of the Marvel Now Wolverines?
Just through X-Men, what I've read in X-Men. Yeah, I really wouldn't call Marvel Now a reboot because it's just more of a
Well, rebooted
rebranded.
that it started at issue 1, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like, how DC went with New 52. It just, for a while there, I think Marvel was just trying to sell more books by making more number 1s. They thought the lower numbers attract more people. Because, it was murder on me and Jackson. We had to wait every 5 weeks. We had a new number 1. And it's just like, hey, you got Daredevil number 6? Well, number 1 just came out. It's like, what are we talking about? These are 5 different runs going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And
Well, because Marvel's not making any money, so they definitely need to draw people in.
I think it was just to create an artificial number 1 bubble to get more people to come in. And then once people realized, hey, this isn't working, they finally quit.
Some sort of pander almost to collectors,
Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe if I go get this number 1, it'll be worth money.
Well,
sometime.
I would think that it's not a pander to collectors. I would think that it's more to get people who've seen the movies and are starting to get interested. Because
everybody always wants to come in at number 1.
Yeah, somebody who's seen the movie and is like, I want to buy my first Captain America comic. And you're like, fresh off the press, it's Captain America 212.
Yeah.
They're not, and be like, well, this is a good jumping on point because it's the story. That person is going to be less interested in that than like your Captain America number 1.
They might not necessarily understand that, just because it's 212 doesn't mean that it's not starting a new story arc or something to that effect. That's
why whenever I try to introduce people that are trying to get into their first comics and stuff, I try to explain to them that it's good to start at number 1 if you can, but really the jumping on point is try to jump on at the start of a story arc. Yeah, because they always have a recap. You know who the character is, so you don't really need to see every waking detail of their life. Right. Though with the way certain books are going right now, that might throw people for a loop if they crack open Cap expecting to see Steve and there's Sam. Yeah. Which, the way they handled that was excellent. They had announced that Sam was going to be Captain America months and before it actually came out. Uh-huh. And the panel is great. I don't remember the writer's name, but it was just perfect. Sam walks out in his Captain America outfit holding the shield, and everyone's looking at him like they're unimpressed. Uh-huh. And he's like, what? Everybody knew this was going to be me, right? All the drama from this moment has been lost. Actually spoken word in the comics.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, okay, that's funny.
So how did he get injected with the serum?
Yeah, he didn't. He's just...
Does he have superpowers? Is he like...
Not really.
Is he at least like normal guy comic book, like kind of stronger than a normal person?
Yeah, he has character powers, as in, I'm a named character, so I'm better than most people.
Yeah.
And not to mention the crazy wingsuit. And I think he can... I don't know if he can talk to birds, but he had red wings.
Does he have his bird now as Captain America?
I have not seen it yet. I read
You would think that he'd switch it out for an eagle.
Maybe it's the shield now.
Oh, so you're saying that he has the bird, but as soon as he becomes Captain America, he just says goodbye to his old bird
Fuck
and gets
you,
a
bird.
new one?
I'm going to get an eagle now.
Let's see that bird with a shield. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or like the bird rides on the shield while he throws it.
Yeah.
The bird doesn't do anything.
It
just rides on it, spinning in circles.
As it's flying through the air, it just perches on it and just spins around with it.
Yeah, my first introduction with Sam as Cap, I really haven't read the main Captain America series was going on, but Axis kicked off today. It's the new event for this year. It's an actual Avengers X-Men Axis. They're teaming up. It's not hero versus hero for right now.
Oh, nice. Cool. It will eventually get to that.
From what I hear on the teaser and the preview stuff, what's going to happen is something's going to flip it to where some of the heroes are going to become more villainous and some of the villains are going to become more heroic. Because if you've read Uncanny Avengers, Axis is spinning right out of Uncanny Avengers, which it's a really good book.
Is it worth picking? So you're saying it's worth picking up?
Oh yeah, it's great. It picks up right after AVX ends, Avengers vs. X-Men ends, and it's Captain America kind of coming to the terms of, I help everyone, but I don't really help mutants that much. I try to help them as part of the whole. So he's putting together an Avengers team called the Unity team in the actual story, but the name of the book is Uncanny Avengers. Uh-huh. And Cyclops' brother Havoc is the leader of the team. And it's got Scarlet Witch, Wolverine, Rogue, Captain America, Thor, and the Wasp. I think that's everyone. And it's just half Avengers, half X-Men, and a whole new team.
So it's it almost has kind of a superhero squad feel to it.
Kinda, but it's geared for older readers.
Well, yeah, obviously, but
like I don't want to say anything because it spoils parts of Axis, but the first story arc is pretty brutal and harkens back to like what Captain America is against.
Yeah,
and that's pointless hate and things of that nature.
Right. Yeah. Because that's I know it's like you said, it's geared to a completely different audience, but I really enjoy watching Superhero Squad. It's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous and adorable.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous and adorable.
Is it made for kids? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're all made for kids,
Yeah.
but is it made for like little kids?
Yeah, it's I turn it on when I have to watch my nephews or my niece, and they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Everyone has 3 fingers. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like maybe 6
Like this?
to...
Or 3 fingers and a thumb?
Yeah, 3 fingers and a thumb.
Axis kicks off today, and I've read the first issue and really liked it. I highly recommend Uncanny Avengers. It'd be hard to find the single issues, but I know the first 2 or 3 trade paperbacks are out, so definitely pick those up if you like Avengers and X-Men.
Is Uncanny Avengers... did you say that's the one that picks up right after Avengers vs. X-Men?
Yeah, pretty much picks up right after the end of that, with them dealing with the aftermath. Robert Crickman just launched Outcast, if you like his stuff. I think that's on its 4th issue now.
We talked about the new Batgirl.
New Batgirl. I'm not familiar with this one.
It was...
Oh, it's Batgirl 35.
It's Batgirl 35.
They just...
Number
where
35,
they
but they
reintroduced her costume.
Yeah, they reintroduced the
Oh, with
costume.
like the new leather jacket look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were... Because I don't know... The way the New 52 works, it makes Batman look out to be like this terrible hero, because he's only been Batman for 5 years.
Uh-huh.
And in that time, he's gone through like 4 Robins, had his back broken. Because they say all the Batman stuff still happened.
But he's only been Batman for 5 years?
Yeah, like 5 years or something like that. And has gone through 4 Robins, had his back broken, and all the other bad stuff in Batman history.
It's like a little over a Robin a year. I have girlfriends longer than he's had Robins.
Don't quote me on that, no, because I don't know if it's exactly correct, but... That's what I've been told.
I'm just picturing him just running from encounter to encounter,
Just
like trying to catch up in those 5 years. He's in the pit to escape after his back's broken for like 30 minutes. Just like, got it, alright, down to the next one. Where's Arkham City? Let's go.
Alright. Thanks, Russ, for sitting in with us.
No problem.
Thanks to the Lost Legion for letting us do a podcast out in the field. It was
like how you say
challenging and interesting.
In the field, like... We're getting shot at right now. We have
there is a lot of 40K terrain around.
There really
Yeah,
is.
we're surrounded by
Turrets and barrels and some trees.
and Garuk staring at us in the corner.
Yeah. So, other shout-outs we have this week are Kevin Jett, Keisha Dietz, Drakenfly, my guildmaster, that's who that is, Bree Blackwell, and our few new likes on Facebook.
Don't say few.
A few hundred.
It. Well, you can't say that either.
Yeah.
You can't find a balance
we
between
have right around
our
100.
few likes and our few hundred likes.
No.
Few hundred implies more than 100.
More than 50, but less than 1,000. Let's say that.
Okay, I'll run with that.
So few hundred is more than 150, but less than 1,000. No, a few hundred is like
He said more than 50.
No, a few hundred is multiple hundreds.
You're 100. And if you have any questions or comments you'd like to hear yourself mentioned on air, you can reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres, email us at duelingogres@gmail.com, or leave a comment on the podcast page or Facebook. Also, be sure to give us a 5-star review on iTunes and a thumbs up or a comment on Stitcher. That helps to boost us up higher on the Cool Kids list. So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt and your tusks sharp. Good night. Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 20. Thank you for joining us as always on this. I didn't pick a new thing.
I was wondering, you just
We're
read
off
that,
to a good start.
you read it with such vigor that I thought you had something.
Nope.
But I was also watching for the inevitable, like, bridge closed, turn back, skid the wheels before you go off the cliff.
Well, at least it'll be a good outtake.
You can say it like, bagged and boarded Wednesday afternoon in the same announcer voice. And just don't fuck it up this time. Can you do that? Maybe?
You can go to hell. You can go to hell and you can die.
Everybody shut up in this comic book shop.
Don't do any talking. Alright, take 2.
But yeah.
Not me. I got a badonk-a-donk. I got some junk in the trunk.
Yeah, you really do.
But fantastic ass. It's my best part.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad the listeners know that. Now you can picture Remington's clenched, hairy anus.
I'll probably cut that part out. I don't want them imagining my anus. Just my glutes, man.
I'm painting a picture. It's a verbal paintbrush.
What was Gargamel's cat's name?
I have no idea.
Neither do
I was
I.
never a Smurfs person. I always found him boring.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I don't know. I
Like
needed more action.
Yeah.
It was too, I don't know, lovey-dovey, I guess. Kind of like with David the Gnome. Did you watch David the Gnome?
Yeah, I was just going to say David
God,
the
that
Gnome.
cartoon was boring. I've tried to go back and watch an episode or two on YouTube. No, it is so boring.
We're still going to do gnome kisses after the podcast, though, right?
Well, we're not going to break a tradition.
All right, so join us. Every time I try to talk.
We've been doing this
Every
for
time.
21 episodes.
Hold on. Switch places. Would you? You have a very nice booming voice on you. Brandon tends to get lost in it anyway, so.
I tend to get lost in your eyes more than anything else, Remington.
Stop it. Anyway, go ahead.
Alright,
So-
well, you want to go ahead and get to wrapping up because we're kind of going long.
Don't you threaten me. I'll rap when I say it's time to rap.
Poker rap?
Poke a face?
Well, they got people starting to come in. We don't want to keep.
What
this
are you
back
What are you
burner.
trying to say?
I'm saying that you took forever to fucking set up all this stuff and take a shower, and we should probably wrap up.
Let me
especially if
look
we
at
have
the
to save
time.
this.
It's only 5:25. We gotta get 25 minutes still.
No, it's fine. We're just giving you a hard time.
You'd think for as long as we've been doing this now that we would be even remotely prepared.
No.
Oh, man.
Almost every time we get to the end of an episode, we're just like, "Are we done now?"
But at least now we have an actual rap. So we can
I-
cut all of this out.
Yeah, it typically ends with like silence, and then us look at each other for a minute, both like expectantly at the other person.
But like I said, that's the magic of editing.
Well, I mean, every one of these iPod and iPhone and whatnot. Yeah, iPods. People still use those, right?
No, you're thinking of Zune.
Oh,
People still use those.
Okay, yeah, you could always just add that part in on the video, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, podcast, last minute, look at each other, silence. I guess it's over.
just take the cassette tape and shove it into a USB port. That's how I get all my podcasts. If you smash it real good, it fits in the CD drive. Computer, podcast.
Go!